actually did a recording earlier today, and for some reason the video won't upload. And now I'm discouraged because I don't hate making videos, but it does take some time, and so when it doesn't record, I get agitated, or when it just doesn't upload for whatever reason. So, anyways, I'm gonna say what I was saying on the video that didn't get uploaded, and I just got a low battery signal, so we'll see how this live goes. What I meant to say in the video, and hopefully this will work this time. I was talking about how when you're trying to recover, you have all these obsessive compulsive things that you do, routines and rituals and whatnot that you feel like you have to do. And when you start recovery, you think that, oh, okay, all I have to really rewire is, the food and the movement problem. And you kind of overlook a lot of the routines that aren't directly related to those two things, the food and the exercise. An example of this would be when I started recovery, before I started recovery, I always woke up and immediately went and got my gym clothes on, right? Then I brushed my teeth, put my hair up, go downstairs, get my water bottles filled, take my kids to school, all that kind of stuff. So when I started recovery, I obviously wasn't going to the gym, right? And I needed to be eating first thing right when I woke up. So I switched my whole routine so it was conducive to recovery, yes, but also so that it wasn't kind of like, as humans, we kind of develop these habits and then we just do them on autopilot, right? So instead of maybe getting up and, I don't know, putting on comfortable clothes and then doing the toothbrush thing and then or brushing my teeth thing, and then I had to do everything completely different. So that's when I started the candy bar challenge, was exactly that. I was like, okay, first thing when I wake up, I'm eating a candy bar. Then I'm going downstairs and eating breakfast. Then I can shower. Then I'll see if I want more food. So, and then the entire day I had to catch myself and see what are the things that I am doing that I've associated with disordered things. So do I sit at the same place at the table every single time I sit down to eat? Am I using the same forks and the same spoons and the same bowls? Am I having to go through like a step process before I allow myself to just sit down and eat? I remember before dinner every night, I had to make sure the counter was wiped down, all the dishes were put away, I had a full glass of ice water, I had all my, seasonings and sauces that I would eat with my food. I had to go upstairs and make sure that the lights were off. All the lights upstairs were off. I had to make sure I had comfortable clothes on. There's just so many things that maybe weren't directly related to restricting food, but it was delaying me eating, and it was it was making it more complicated and more difficult for me to actually eat. So if I were to continue doing all those things, and then I sat down, let's say I was in recovery, did all those things, then I sat down to eat this big meal, my brain is still fired to think that we're restricting and that I'm still behaving like I have an eating disorder. So I had to drop all those steps before. I had to let the kitchen just be dirty. I didn't have to wipe the counter down. I was going to not have a glass of water with that meal. I was definitely not going to go put on stretchy pants, and I was not going to have to go upstairs and check the lights. So that's the kind of thing that when you enter recovery that you really want to be able to catch yourself and say, okay, I have to look at my entire day and see where am I falling short? Where am I falling into routines without even realizing it, and how am I going to stop that? So recognize it, write it down, and then start a plan of action. Okay, so here's what I've been doing in my recovery that's very similar to what I was doing before in regards to just weird rituals that I've had to do, and now I'm going to stop. Now I'm going to stop, and I'm going to replace it with something else that's going to not remind me at all about the things I used to do when I was sick. So it's kind of developing new associations. So sit somewhere different at the table, obviously eat with bigger forks and spoons and different things. Make your morning routine, if you're not already doing the candy bar or something similar, right when you wake up, you're eating that scary thing. Okay, so that was kind of what I was talking about in the video, was these routines and rituals that you are just kind of doing on autopilot, but then also trying to change the way that you're eating and challenging yourself more. And it's just like your brain is fired because you're going through these actions that you used to do, and also now you're trying to not restrict. But those two things have always gone together. So hopefully I feel like I'm repeating myself, but hopefully I've made myself clear. I don't see any questions coming up. So if you don't have any questions, I know this is a Friday night, and again, on Fridays, all my kids disperse and go and play. And I just wait for my husband to get home, and then we go on a date typically on Friday night. So it's wonderful. But I always have, like, not always, but oftentimes this weird time on Fridays I have to do a video, and I didn't think I was going to be because I thought I had already done one, and then when I saw it didn't upload, here I am. Hey there, you look gorgeous tonight. I have a question. Oh, thank you. Yes, ask your question, Elizabeth Corelli. Is that how you say your name? Corelli? You can ask your question. Well, I'm waiting for her question to come through. Hopefully everyone has some things that they maybe are looking forward to this weekend, and if you're not, I just realized I'm rocking as I'm talking in this rocking chair. That might make someone sick or like motion sick, so I'll try to stop. It's just a habit. I always sit in this chair while well, when I was breastfeeding Hazel. I don't anymore, but it's nostalgic because I haven't sat in it in a very long time. See, that's exactly what I was just talking about. When I sat in this chair, it reminded me of when I nursed Hazel. Oh my gosh, this is perfect. Just what I was talking about, right? Same thing if you're sitting at the table and that's where you always sat when you always ate your big salad. It's gonna always remind you of doing that, and you're gonna want to be restrictive. Okay, way sidetracked. What was I talking about? Wow. I just lost my train of thought. Okay, that's embarrassing. I literally cannot remember what I was just saying before I got distracted by rocking in the rocking chair. Okay, was there a breaking point or catalyst that caused you to commit to recovery? Yeah, actually, I was just talking about this again with a client, and I shared it in one of my very, very first videos where I was out on a houseboating trip with my family and my siblings and all of their spouses and all their kids. I think there's like 30, I think I should know this, but there's a lot. I think 27 nieces and nephews. And my parents, obviously, all on this houseboat. I have 7 siblings, so I've come from a very large family. I'm the 5th of 8. And so we're all on this houseboat, lots and lots and lots of people. And I was terrified leading up to it, obviously. And so I thought, okay, I'm either going to not eat at all or I'm going to have to come prepared. I'm going to have to pack these big Yeti coolers full of meal prep foods. And I did that, and I had them there, and I felt, all safe and comforted knowing that I had that to eat when the rest of the family was eating their meals. And at this point, at this stage that I was at in my, my eating disorder, my family just kind of all was just over it. Like, this is just her. She's not going to change. I don't want to say they gave up on me, but they just stopped. They stopped letting it affect them and bother them. And that's a hard place to get to, where it's like, how sad, everyone's moved on but me. I'm still struggling with this piece of crap eating disorder. And it was just so blatant in my face at that time while I was sitting there in the other houseboat, and on the one next to us, everyone was in there eating dinner. Whoever was cooking that night, everyone was just joining in and having fun. And I'm in there sitting by myself at the table. Sometimes I drag my husband over to like get his plate and then come over to the houseboat with me and just eating my stupid crap food, right? And I just was doing that thinking, like, this isn't working for me anymore. What am I doing this for? I am so sick of doing this crap. Why do I feel like I have to do this? Why do I feel like I can't? Why am I not okay to go over there and just eat the food that all the other human beings that are, alive and seem to be okay eating? Why am I different? Why can't I do that? And it really bothered me. So when I got home, I, didn't immediately jump in to unrestricted eating, but I started looking into kind of like, okay, I need to get some help. What do I do? So I reached out to a treatment center, and I did an outpatient program, and then they had like a kind of a heart issue, and they wanted me to go inpatient, and I just refused because I'd done it before. I had kids at home. Nope, not doing it. Tried to discharge myself, and they made a big fuss about it and said it's a horrible idea. And the dietitian told me, you're never going to be able to rehabilitate on your own. You're never going to be able to do this on your own. And that was all she had to tell me. That was it. I was just like, okay, done. Thank you very much. Goodbye. And I was ticked off. I was so sick of people telling me that I couldn't. And then that's when I left that treatment center and seriously drove straight to the pizza place and got myself a big pizza. And then that was the day that I knew something was going to change and it was going to be different. And I think that the more that you can go into recovery and realize this has to be different. This absolutely has to be completely different than any other attempt I've had at recovery, or else I'm probably going to get the same results. When you go into it with that mindset that this is going to feel completely different and this is going to look completely different, you're going to get different results. You're going to be pleasantly surprised when you find yourself actually rewiring yourself out of your eating disorder. So that was an extremely long-winded question. Let's go back to some questions here. So if you're having a hard time committing, not everyone has to have that houseboat experience like I did, but maybe you have I'm guessing you have a compilation of tons and tons and tons of experiences that you kind of like that you just remember being like, why do I have to do everything different? Why do I feel like I can't just join in and have fun in life? Why can I not relax? Why all these things? The reason is because you have an eating disorder, and the cool thing about it is you can absolutely commit and recover. Moved on and fully recovered. It was no big deal. Of course it was really hard, and I'd make progress and then I'd kind of fizzle out, and then I'd make progress and fizzle out, but my fizzle outs weren't like weeks and months. They were like a couple days. Becky, get your butt back in gear, you can do this, you're not there yet. And then I'd go up and then I'd kind of fizzle and be like, I can't go anymore, I'm done, I can't. And then I'd be like, crap, but my mental state's still struggling. And then I'd go up, until I got to that place. So okay, how to eat unrestricted in a healthy sized body, struggling so much with this. Healthy sized body, like according to BMI chart, but it's probably not healthy for you if you're suppressing your body weight, right? So first recognize that healthy is like a very arbitrary term, and for you, if you're suppressing your body weight, it's actually not where you're supposed to be. And so when I recognize that, and I get it, no matter how much I tell you that, I've said that, like 100 times throughout my videos probably, that it doesn't matter what size body you're in, you can still eat unrestrictedly. I can keep saying that for now until forever, and you're not going to believe me fully, but you just have to be brave. You just have to be like, I'm going to stop obsessing or worrying about the size of body I'm in when I start my recovery, and I'm going to do the things that I know I need to do in order to rewire my brain, and I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to go for it. So yes, I could keep saying that same thing over and over and over and over again. I know you've heard it come out of my mouth and many other people's mouth that are, coaches or in this field, and yet you still question it. So you have to stop asking that question and just be like, I'm just going to be brave and I'm just going to do it. When I started my recovery, I was quote unquote in a healthy body, right? I had the same fears. So I'm not going to invalidate the fact that you feel afraid about that, but I just had to be like, I'm going to stop focusing on physical, I'm focusing on my mental state. I can't go out to eat without severe anxiety. I can't even go on a trip without packing my own meals. I have to exercise excessively every day. I can't sit down during the day. I am not present with my kids. I'm checked out. I don't sleep well. Like all these things. And it was like, I'm afraid of pretty much everything other than 10 foods. Okay, yeah, I'm going to focus on that rather than the fact that, but a BMI chart said I'm healthy, so that's fine, but are you happy? Right? So you'd have to just be brave. Okay. Thank you so much for answering. Your perspective and advice is so helpful. You're welcome, Elizabeth Corelli. I don't know how to say her name. I'm sorry. Megan, thanks, Becky, for all your insight and honest talks. You're welcome. Elizabeth, do you have any tips on how to manage feelings of anxiety and not wanting to eat because you have errands to run or chores to do, and you know that once you start eating, you won't stop? So kind of two questions. How do you manage the anxiety and not wanting to eat because you have errands to run or chores to do, and once you start eating, you won't stop? So it sounds like, as well as feeling anxious to be away from your home and unrestricted access to food. So like, it's what you're saying is like, you're anxious when you're home because then you have all this food, right? It's there, and you're terrified that if you start eating it, you're not going to stop. And you're probably right. When you start eating it, you shouldn't stop. If you're feeling like you're afraid of that, it's likely because you need to be doing that. And then you're also afraid of when you're away from home, you feel anxious because you don't have unlimited access to food, right? So it's like a no-win situation. But the answer to that is you just need to eat. When you're not away from, when you're away from home, you need to be packing food in your car and in your purse and wherever you're going, and be open to stopping and getting food. And then when you're home, you need to allow the downtime and not run those errands and do those chores that don't have to be done, right? They don't have to be done. So up there with things that absolutely have to be done is, obviously you need to have enough food in your house, so you have to go to the store if you have no food. That's different than if you don't have all your safe foods and all your special little foods that you have to go to the store and get. That doesn't excuse you to go and run those errands. If your kids are little and they can't do their own laundry and they're absolutely out of clean underwear, fine, you gotta do a little laundry, right? I'm talking like the bare minimum here. All right, so don't convince yourself that you have all these things you have to do and you just are distracting yourself from eating. Let yourself have that time at home to eat. So how do you deal with that anxiety though? Well, it's not going to go anywhere if you don't address the issue, which is that you're ignoring your hunger. And then once you actually do respond to that hunger, then that anxiety that comes up is exactly the anxiety you should be aiming for. That's the anxiety that you need to have, because that's the anxiety that's going to be temporary and that's going to help you overcome your fear of gaining weight. Okay? So what you're saying is you have anxiety either way. You're going to have anxiety either way. Whether you're trying to avoid and distract yourself from eating causes you anxiety, or you're going to run into your fear and let yourself eat everything you want, which is going to cause you anxiety. This anxiety here will last forever. In 15, 20, 30 years, you're still going to have those same anxieties trying to busy yourself all day long. Over here, you have this anxiety that's going to peak and feel really intense, but it's going to be temporary. So when I would sit through that discomfort, when I was challenging the eating disorder, I reminded myself this is temporary. If I run back, this is forever. Okay? So you've got to remember that. Be brave. Try to stay calm. Know the anxiety will pass. And then, like I've always said, eat some more. When you have a freak out about how much you just ate, take a deep breath and then go eat some more. Don't let the eating disorder have the last say. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go. There's a couple more here, but I'm gonna end it here. And I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. If you don't have anything fun planned, try to insert some fun into your weekend. Try to insert some fun. And you might be like, ugh, I don't even want to. If nothing's sounding fun, then just eat a lot of food this weekend, because eventually if you just can get yourself to do that, you're going to start wanting to have more fun in your life. But if you're feeling like I don't even have a desire to have fun right now, it's because your body's so focused on just trying to survive, and it's so focused in on food because you need it. So give yourself that permission. So either go do something fun and eat a lot of food, or if you don't want to have fun because you just need to be home eating, then do that. Okay? All right. Bye, everyone.